morning to one and all, and a very special good morning to the class students of 2nd Com B and 2nd Com D. Yes, I'm very sure you're bored sitting at home, but still, we are not going to waste our time. We are going to sit and study from 9 to 12. I'm sure your business studies class is already going to start now at 10 o'clock. So please stay tuned with me to study the second chapter of business studies, that is Principles of Management. Dear students, please open your books, that's your notebooks. As I'm going to teach you this particular chapter, please make short notes and underline the important terminologies. I'm sure you have already done it. So please see that if you are able to understand whatever I'm teaching you. Any doubts you have, please type it in the comment section or leave me a personal message so that I can clarify your doubt on the next video. Thank you. Now let's start our second chapter. Now, Principles of Management. What is the terminology or the meaning of the word management? You have studied this in your first chapter. Management is nothing but the art of getting things done through others. Yes, I'm sure you know it. So, in your second chapter, you need to understand the meaning of the word principles. Now, what is this word called principles? We have our school principal, our college principal. That principle is different from these principles. Now, what are these principles? Principles are statements of truth. What is it? Statements of truth. They are nothing but they are statements which is proving a certain situation or a problem. Like example, let me tell you, in this quarantine or due to this coronavirus, we are all sitting in the house. We are not just sitting in the house. What is happening? Every school, every college, every educational institution is thinking what they need to do at home. So they are all planning, telling that, okay, let us make our students study. That is through different modes and different means, either through an online class, either through sending pre-recorded messages, or either through, let's say, online teaching like this, using different apps or different things. So what is it? You have a situation. Situation is nothing but problem. Problem is nothing but it's a phenomenon. Based on a phenomena, based on a problem, you are proving or you are giving statements telling that for this problem, you are going to use this solution. So these are what are called as principles. Okay? So what are these principles? Principles are statements of fundamental truths about some phenomena. Some phenomenon refers to an event or it refers to any situation. And this principle, the statement can only be true. Understood? And it provides guidelines for decision making. Now, who does it provide guidelines to? It provides guidelines to managers. Now, you know every organization has a top level management, it has a middle level management, and it has a lower level management. So, these statements or these situations or problems or whatever decision making capacity is there, these are provided to the management so that the management, learning these principles, what they will do, they will incorporate it to a given problem or to a given situation. Did you understand the meaning? So please underline the three important terminologies in your notebook, that is statement, truth. Truth means what? These principles are true. It cannot be false. And every organization, let it be a big organization or a small, has to follow it. And the third word is phenomenon. Phenomenon means a given problem or a situation or an event. And it provides guidelines for decision making. Decision making refers to managers. Understood? Now, who's providing us these principles? Okay, now you need to know this. There are a lot of these thinkers, management thinkers, who have provided us a lot of these books and written a lot of books based on what we have to do, what we are supposed to learn. So two important personalities that we're going to be studying in the entire chapter are who? You already know them. The first person is Henry Fayol and the second person is Frederick Winslow Taylor. You already know them really well. So these people have provided us certain basic principles which every organization has to follow. Now, what is the need every organization has to follow? They are saying if every organization follows these principles, three things are very well the organization will receive. That is, the organization will work economically, efficiently, and effectively. That means what? The production of the organization will be really good, the sales of the organization will be very good, and the profit of the organization will increase. Did you understand? So, now moving on to the second topic. Now, features of principles of management is a very important topic. Now, this is going to be an 8 marker. 8 marker. I'm marking it very important so that you will study this topic. Okay. Now, what is the first feature of principles of management? The first feature of principles of management is universal applicability. What is the meaning of the word universal? Universal means throughout the entire universe, throughout the entire world. Any organization, let it be a big organization, let it be a small organization, let it be a private sector, let it be a public sector. Any organization are applying these principles so that their production will increase, their sales will increase, and their profits are also going to increase. Understood? So, any organization, through all organizations throughout the world are using these principles. Okay, so what's the explanation? Principles of management are applicable to all organizations, let it be a big organization, a small, a business sector, a non-business sector, that's NGOs, let it be a public sector, even governmental sector industries or private sector industries, anywhere, any organization you go, these principles are applied or used. Understood? So the second point, general guidelines. Now please, the knack for you for explanation is, look at the word. First one is universal applicability. You know the meaning of the word universal. It's easy for you to explain the sentence. Now the second one is general guidelines. General means what? It's common guidelines. Common. General means common. Guidelines means what? Nothing but rules, regulations which every organization has to follow. Example, let's take for example our own college. In our own college, what are the general guidelines which every individual or every student should follow? Example, you have to come in full dress uniform, you have to wear your tie, your shirt, your blazer on, and you have to wear your own formal shoes, and lecturers have to come in draped sari which is really neatly draped. So what are those general guidelines? You have to wear your ID card compulsory. So what is the general guidelines which every organization should follow? So principles of management provides general guidelines. That means what? Every organization should follow the set of rules and regulations. Guidelines means what? Rules and regulations. But they do not provide ready-made solution. So what's the example? Let's come back to the example again. What did I tell you? We are in quarantine, we are sitting at a home, and we have to teach our students. So can we actually come to class and come to college and teach? No, we cannot. Why cannot we teach? Because if we come, we are going to be put in behind bars. So what is the other alternative what we are giving for a problem? We are coming up, let's say, using an app like Zoom to teach you. But how effective is the app called Zoom? Students are not really able to understand whatever we are teaching. So what is the other means by which teachers are teaching you? Let's say pre-recorded videos, or let's say teaching like how I'm teaching you. So what is it? Based on the problem cannot have ready-made solution. Based on the problem, you have to have different approaches to tackle your problem. If plan A is not working out, you will switch to plan B. Plan B is not working out, you will switch to plan C. So what is it? These provide general guidelines and they do not provide ready-made solutions. So based on the problem, things have to be changed. Okay? So Okay, real life problems are very complex. Like I've already taught you in the first chapter, when you work in an organization, the day-to-day problems are very complicated. One day one employee will come, second day another employee is not turning up to work. Third day, another employee wants to put down his papers and wants to shift to a better organization, which is paying him better salary. So what is it? Real life problems are very much complicated in an organization. So you cannot apply these principles just like copy pasting any answer. So what do you need to do? You need to learn these principles, apply it in a different manner based on your real life situation. Why? Because every organization is dynamic. Dynamic means what? You already know the word, ever changing. Yes? So, they only play an advisory role. So, who's playing an advisory role here? The principles provided by Henry Fayol, F.W. Taylor and other thinkers are providing only advisory role. That means they're telling us discipline is very important. Discipline means obedience. But how exactly is the organization using this mode of discipline to enhance the growth of employees or students? That the organization has to decide. So the third one, formed by practice and experimentation. I'm sure you're going through your notes simultaneously as I'm teaching you on the board. So only then it's easy for you to learn. And please ensure you are concentrating and studying as I'm teaching you. Otherwise, you're only going to find it very difficult. And this is a very important 8 marker. So the third point, principles of management are formed by experiences. So what are they saying? Experiences refers to experiences of managers. Whose experience are we talking about? We are talking about experiences of managers. Understood? So, every manager, as per what they work, their experiences are different. Let's say if you are a new manager who is promoted in the organization, you hold 1 year of experience, you cannot handle that particular problem. So what do you need to do? You need to take and you need to let's say you need to go to your higher level manager, ask him, please can you help me how I can solve this particular problem? I'm still new, I don't know how to handle it. So what is it? However experienced you are, based on your experience, you and collective opinions and wisdoms of managers, you can ensure that you can solve your problems more easily or efficiently. Understood? So what are they saying? Formed by practice. Practice refers to practice of managers, experience of managers and experimentation. So what do managers do? Like example, again come back to the example. Today one day employee is saying I'm sick, I really cannot come to work. Second day another employee is not coming to work from 3 days. He is not even informed the manager. So can a manager just sit like that? No. What he would do? He will call, he will inform the HR person telling that this employee is not even picking my call. What am I supposed to do? Can I throw him out? Can I send a letter? What he has to do based on his experience, based on his experimentation. He'll experiment. What should I do? Should I send a letter to the employee? Should I call the employee? What he should do next? So what is it? Principles helps the managers to come out to a given solution. That is, they provide based on what experiments they can actually do. Okay. So principles are formed by experiences, that's experiences of managers, and collective opinions. Collective opinions again on managers, employees, anybody it can mean. And wisdom of managers as experimentation. So what are the basic understanding is, based on the experience of managers, you can solve all the given problems in an organization. That's the... Okay, so the fourth point, flexible. Now coming down to the question, what is flexible? Principles of management is flexible. Yes. The meaning of flexible means that these principles are not rigid. What is rigid? Rigid means very, let's say very strict. You cannot impose it on the employees. It cannot be changed. But what is the meaning of flexible? Flexible means based on the situation, based on the problems. Every principle can be changed or it can be altered depending on the problem. Like example, let's take for our educational institution. Now, what's the current problem that we all are facing? We all are quarantined, sitting in the house because of this virus called corona. So that is the problem what we have. Now, what is the effect? Now, what are the things that we can do because of it? Now, can the educational institution just sit like that without taking any class? No. We are so used to taking online classes. We are so not used to taking online classes. We are so used to seeing the face of each and every student and taking the class in a classroom. But because of this cause, because of this problem, we just cannot just sit like that. We need to complete our portions. So what is the effect? We have come out with the effect on online classes. We have come out with telling students to complete their notes. We have even gone to the level of taking a class such as this. So what is it? The principles, what is applied in an organization, it cannot be very strict. Rigid means strict. It has to be followed. Example, let's say during summer, we cannot demand the child to wear shoes and socks and wear a blazer or a sweater, can we? No, we cannot. So what is it? We have to change certain principles as per the situation or the problems. That is the meaning of the term called flexible. What is flexible? Principles of management is flexible. So principles of management are not rigid. They are flexible and can be modified by managers as per the situation. Situation refers to problems. What is situation refers to? Problems. So who has to change based on the situation? Managers. Example, organizational example I'll give you. Employee is not picking the phone from the past 3 days. He has not come to work from the past 3 days. So what can the manager decide? Either he can send a warning letter to the employee, either he can keep calling the employee, either he can tell the HR to tell, I don't want this employee, let's throw him off. Can he do all those things? So first he has to know what is the basic problem that the employee has not come to work. As per the rules of the organization, if an employee is not kept the manager informed for the past 3 days, they can send a warning letter to the employee to terminate or throw away the employee. But still, the management has to know what's the real problem the employee is facing. Understood? So these principles are flexible. So the next point, mainly behavioral in nature. Now, we are speaking behavioral means the behavior. Whose behavior are we speaking about? We are speaking of the human behavior. Whose behavior are we speaking of? Human behavior. Now, this human behavior in an organization, humans are called as employees or workers. So, this human behavior or employees' behavior, we are comparing it to something called as material resources. We are finding the relationship of an employee to the material resources provided by the organization. Now, you know really well what does the term resources refers to. Your notes are there, please check. Resources term refers to 3 words. That is what? Finance, it refers to technology, and it refers to raw materials. Now these 3 things are being used by these human behavior. That is, these are being used by employees every single day. So who should check? The managers or the management should check that the employees are using these resources really effectively, so that the efficiency of the employees will increase. Understood? That they are not wasting these resources. Wasting resources means what? For my personal purpose, I am continuously taking printouts in the organization's printer. Is it really good? No. I am wasting paper of the organization. So who has to check all this? The management has to put certain rules and terminologies set, telling that the employee should adhere or listen to these things. Understood? So mainly behavioral. The word behavioral refers to human behavior, employees' behavior in relationship to what? Material resources. Resources refers to 3 words. What is it? Finance, technology, and what? Finance, technology, and human resources, employees. Now the next one, the 6th one is cause and effect relationship. I have already told you. What is the cause? The cause is we are all quarantined at home, sitting in the house because of corona. So this is the cause. Because of the disease, because of the virus called corona, we are all sitting in the house. That's the cause. Now what is the effect? The effect refers to, because we are all sitting in the house, we cannot come to college and take classroom teaching, or we cannot teach you looking at your face. That is in a classroom or in a college. So what are we forced to do? The effect that we have all come out with is online teaching or pre-recorded teaching, or let's say any other modes of teaching. So what is it? Every problem, that is a problem, is called as a cause. Every problem has an effect, or every problem has to come out with a solution. Like example, Newton's third law of gravity or motion says, you throw an apple up, it falls down. Why does it fall down? It's because of gravity. That is who identified that. Newton has come out with it. Understood? So what is it? Because the apple was thrown out from the, it fell out from the tree, or let's say he threw the apple up, it just fell down. He understood that anything that you throw up comes down because of gravity. So because of the cause, there is an effect that you are coming out with. So every problem in an organization has a particular solution. Not a tailor-made solution, but the manager has to come out with a solution to the problem. So what is it? Principles of management establishes a cause and effect as they tell us what should be the result of a particular problem. Okay, so if the principles are applied, so the principles are applied to a given situation. So every problem, there is a principle applied to the problem, but the principle will not give us the correct, perfect, tailor-made answer. But the manager, with his experience, with his knowledge, should use the principle to get the maximum efficiency to the problem. Did you understand? Okay. So the next point is contingent. What is the meaning of the term contingent? Please write it down. The meaning of the term contingent means subject to change. Now, what is subject to change? That means the principles of management are things which is provided by our thinkers. Our thinkers are nothing but our Henry Fayol and F.W. Taylor. They have provided a lot of principles, scientific principles and general principles. But these principles are subject to change depending on the problem or phenomenon or a given situation. Again, I'm repeating. These principles of management will alter depending on the subject or problem or phenomenon or a given problem. Who has to see? The manager has to decide which principle can he use or which principle he has to alter to get the maximum benefit out of the employee, or how he can solve a problem of the employee. Understood? So the meaning of contingent means subject to change. That means all the principles are subject to change. They are not the same. Okay? So the application of management principles is contingent, subject to change. It depends upon a prevailing situation. Prevailing situation means what? Any given situation. Okay? Any given situation. At a particular point of time, they can be changed. What can be changed? The principles can be changed. The principles will not remain the same all the time. In any given situation, these principles will keep changing because of the problem. The manager has to find out the correct solution, or he has to do a lot of research to ensure that all the problems are solved in an organization. So what helps him keeping these principles in his mind through whatever he studied through his books or in his education in his educational institution, or probably through his past experiences. So all this will help him to come and solve all his problems in a given situation. Did you understand? And they are not absolute. Absolute means all the problems are not the same. They keep changing again and again. So now we conclude this video. Before I can conclude the video, students, did you understand what I have taught you? I have already taught you this topic in class, but still I thought, as this is our first class, let me again reteach you whatever I have taught you. Please mark this topic important. It's very important, and please learn these terminologies. If you know the meaning of the terminologies, it's easy for you to give the explanation. Otherwise, you're going to really wonder how to give the explanation. And please study. Now, the next topic that I'm going to teach you is importance of principles of management. Any doubts you have, please send a message to my personal number, or what you can actually do is send a message on YouTube itself. I have activated it. Please ensure you can make use of that also to listen to whatever I have taught you. Understood? Thank you. God bless you. Stay safe at home.